Most people don't feel lost because they failed. They feel lost because they've been moving for years, but not in their own direction. And the hardest part? Sometimes everything looks fine from the outside. You wake up, you go to work, you answer messages, you scroll through social media, you laugh at things, you make plans. But somewhere in between all of that, there's a quiet feeling you can't explain. A strange sense that something isn't right. Not dramatic, not catastrophic, just empty. And you start asking yourself a question you don't know how to answer. Why do I feel lost in life? You're not alone in that feeling. In fact, more people feel this than you think. They just don't talk about it. Because feeling lost sounds like weakness. It sounds like failure. But it's neither. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Daniel. Daniel is 27. He has a stable job. He earns enough to live comfortably. He has friends he sees on weekends. His family is proud of him. On paper, he's doing well. But every Sunday night, as the weekend fades, he feels a heaviness in his chest. It's not panic. It's not depression. It's a quiet question echoing in the background. Is this really my life? He can't point to a specific problem. Nothing is wrong, and that's what makes it worse. Because when something is clearly broken, you can fix it. But when everything seems fine, and you still feel empty, it feels like the problem must be you. This is where many people start blaming themselves. I'm ungrateful. Other people have it worse. I should be happy. But the feeling doesn't go away just because you judge it. Psychology has a term for part of this experience. It's called identity misalignment. It happens when the life you're living doesn't match the person you actually are becoming. You can be productive, you can be successful, you can be admired, and still feel lost. Because success without alignment feels like progress in the wrong direction. Daniel didn't consciously choose most of his path. He chose what made sense, what felt safe, what people encouraged. He picked a degree that had good opportunities. He accepted a job that looked impressive. He followed a timeline that seemed responsible. None of those decisions were bad, but they weren't deeply his. And over time, something inside him started resisting. Here's another layer to this feeling. We live in a world of constant comparison. You open your phone and see engagements, promotions, vacations, new businesses, perfect routines. Even if you try not to compare, your brain does it automatically. There's something called social comparison theory. It explains that humans evaluate themselves by comparing their progress to others. It's not a flaw. It's a built-in mechanism. But in the modern world, it becomes distorted. Because you're not comparing yourself to 5 people in your village. You're comparing yourself to thousands of curated highlight reels, and your brain treats them as reality. So Daniel scrolls, and suddenly his normal life feels behind. Not because it is, but because perception shapes emotion. He sees someone his age buying a house, another launching a startup, another traveling the world. And he thinks, I'm late. I missed something. I should be further. But here's the truth most people don't realize. There is no universal timeline. There is only cultural expectation. The pressure to be ahead by a certain age is mostly invisible social programming. When you internalize that programming, you start measuring your worth by speed. And when you feel slow, you feel lost. But being lost isn't always about direction. Sometimes it's about disconnection. Disconnection from your own values. There's a concept in psychology called self-concept. Your self-concept is your internal blueprint. It's the story you believe about who you are, what matters to you, and what kind of life feels meaningful. When your daily actions contradict that blueprint, your brain creates tension. That tension can show up as restlessness, or boredom, or emptiness, or the feeling of being behind. Daniel realized something uncomfortable one evening. He wasn't exhausted from working hard. He was exhausted from pretending he was passionate about goals that didn't excite him, pretending he wanted the same things as everyone else, pretending he was satisfied. And that pretending drains energy. Many people feel lost not because they lack direction, but because they've been performing a version of themselves for too long. The world rewards conformity. It rewards following clear paths. But personal meaning often requires deviation, and deviation feels risky. So we stay on familiar roads, even when they don't feel right. Another hidden reason people feel lost is overstimulation, constant noise, notifications, opinions, advice, comparison, content. When your mind is constantly reacting to external input, you lose the ability to hear your internal voice. Clarity requires quiet, but quiet feels uncomfortable at first, because when everything slows down, you're left alone with your questions. Daniel did something small, but powerful. He stopped trying to fix the feeling immediately. Instead of asking, "How do I stop feeling lost?" he asked, "What is this feeling trying to tell me?" That shift changed everything. Feeling lost is often the beginning of awareness. It's your mind signaling that autopilot mode is no longer working. It's not a breakdown, it's a transition. Many people who eventually build deeply meaningful lives go through a phase of confusion first, because awareness disrupts comfort, and growth disrupts identity. You can't evolve without temporarily feeling uncertain. But here's where most people make a mistake. They try to eliminate uncertainty as fast as possible. They jump into new goals, new plans, new distractions, without pausing long enough to understand the root. So if you feel lost right now, don't rush to redesign your entire life tomorrow. Start smaller. Ask yourself questions you've been avoiding. If no one judged you, what would you explore? If money wasn't the primary pressure, what would you try? What conversations energize you? What activities make you lose track of time? These aren't childish questions. They're identity clues. Another important truth: you're allowed to outgrow old versions of yourself. The career that once felt exciting might not fit anymore. The friendships that once defined you might evolve. The goals that once motivated you might lose their power. That's not failure. That's development. But growth requires honesty. And honesty sometimes means admitting, this path isn't mine anymore. That realization can be scary, because identity feels stable. And when you question it, everything feels uncertain. But uncertainty is not danger. It's openness. There's something hopeful about feeling lost. It means you're conscious enough to notice misalignment. Many people never reach that awareness. They suppress discomfort for decades. They follow routines without reflection. They achieve milestones without connection. And one day, they wake up wondering why everything feels empty. You're questioning earlier. That's not weakness. That's strength. Let's talk about what actually helps. First, reduce comparison. Limit how much you expose yourself to constant success narratives. Not because ambition is bad, but because distorted perception is harmful. Second, create intentional quiet. Even 10 minutes a day without input. No phone, no music, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. Clarity rarely appears in chaos. Third, take micro actions. Not dramatic life changes. Small experiments. Try something you've been curious about. Start a conversation you've been avoiding. Adjust one habit that doesn't feel aligned. Momentum builds identity. You don't find yourself all at once. You uncover yourself through consistent alignment. Daniel didn't quit his job overnight. He didn't reinvent everything in a week. He started by exploring interests he had ignored. He reconnected with creative hobbies. He had honest conversations about what he actually valued. Slowly, the heaviness started fading, not because his life became perfect, but because it started becoming honest. Feeling lost isn't proof that you're failing. It's proof that you're evolving. It means the old script doesn't fully fit anymore, and you're ready to write a new one. The key is not to panic during the transition. You're not behind. You're in between. And in between is where growth happens. One day, you might look back at this period and realize it was the moment you stopped living automatically. The moment you started choosing intentionally. The moment you stopped measuring yourself by speed and started measuring yourself by meaning. You don't need all the answers right now. You don't need a perfect 5-year plan. You just need one honest step toward alignment. Because meaning isn't found by rushing. It's found by listening. And if you feel lost today, maybe that's not the end of direction. Maybe it's the beginning of awareness. And awareness is where real change begins. You're not broken. You're waking up. And that's a powerful place to start.